measured in hundredths of seconds. And a Sunday drive is a quarter mile long and 5 seconds short. There's no room for error and no place for the timid. It is the world of NHRA championship drag racing. Last year in funny car competition, in spite of this horrendous explosion and ensuing fire which occurred at the Keystone Nationals in Pennsylvania, Kenny Bernstein won his 3rd consecutive world title. Labor Day weekend saw the U.S. Nationals at Indianapolis, Indiana, witness Bob Glidden winning the 4th of what was to be 8 pro stock event wins. In securing this 8th NHRA title, Glidden established an unheard-of mark of 60 career victories. And finally, a season-long battle between 2 top fuel aces came down to the last race of the year. There, in Pomona, California, Dick LaHaye in the far lane defeated rival Joe Amato to be crowned the NHRA World Champion. Today, Sports World returns to Pomona for the opening event of the 1988 NHRA season. It's the Winternationals.
This is NBC's Sports World, and today it's brought to you by Budweiser, proud sponsor of the 1988 U.S. Olympic team. This Bud's for you. By Goodyear Eagle Tires. Goodyear, because there really is a difference. By Fram Bendixson Autolite, quality products from Allied Automotive. And by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately?
With the snow-capped San Gabriel Mountains in the background, upwards of 60,000 drag racing enthusiasts have packed Pomona Raceway east of Los Angeles for the kickoff event of the 1988 NHRA Championship season, the Chief Auto Parts Winternationals. Hello, everyone. I'm Gary Gerald. For 28 years now, the superstars of drag racing have been coming from all corners of the country to Pomona for the Winternationals. This year, it kicks off a 1988 championship season of 16 events through North America that boasts $15 million in prize money. We at NBC Sports World are proud that we'll be providing you with coverage of 3 of the major championships. In addition to the finals here today at Pomona, we'll be at Englishtown, New Jersey for the Summer Nationals, and then back at Pomona next fall for the NHRA Winston World Finals. Always, of course, at the start of any championship season, there's a great air of anticipation. Expectations run very, very high. And already, we've seen some dazzling speeds in qualifying runs, and there have been a couple of major surprises. For a further update on what's in store here at Pomona today, let's go now to our broadcast colleague, motorsports expert Steve Evans.
Gary, this quarter-mile drag strip carved out of a fairgrounds parking lot has, for the past 28 years, exhibited the same traction characteristics. For one thing, it doesn't like hot, sunny weather. It tends to get greasy, and that makes the driver's job even more difficult than usual. Now, the low qualifier, the quickest of them all in the funny car category, Ed the Ace McCullough, earlier today in round 1 action, found out just how tricky it can be. Racing Bruce Larson, McCullough was competitive until suddenly his car just became undrivable. Ed, it looked like you had the race won. What happened?
Well, the racetrack, I mean, I'm not blaming the racetrack per se. We had a hard time getting down this racetrack all week. The thing left the starting line well, and it went out there and it just drove it into a tire shake and smoked the tires, you know. I don't know.
In top fuel action earlier today, Darrell Gwynn, the man who has won the last 2 out of 3 races here at Pomona, knew how tricky the track would be. So he went to the starting line with his power backed off a bit. Well, that, combined with being just a little late off the starting line, allowed his competitor Jack Ostrander to score a big upset. Gwynn was out of the event.
They don't get much closer than that, Gary.
Now, also joining our broadcast team today is a man who quite simply is known as a legend in the sport of drag racing. In a career that has spanned 4 decades, strewn with championships, a man who, quite interestingly, the last time he fired his top fuel dragster was in a locale that wasn't remotely associated with a quarter-mile drag strip. It happened in Washington, D.C., amid the sounds of evening homeward-bound traffic, jets going to and from nearby National Airport, when suddenly there came a rumble sure to attract the attention of the Secret Service, a rumble totally foreign to this bastion of national government. It was the nitro growl of a top fuel dragster, specifically the one known as Swamp Rat 30, built and driven by Big Daddy Don Garlits. Its presence in the nation's capital marked an historic moment in a legendary career. In late October, this innovative machine, the first dragster to exceed 270 miles per hour, the car that carried Don Garlits to his 3rd World Championship, accomplished still another first. With ceremony and celebration, Don's Streamliner became the first drag racing machine to be inducted into the Smithsonian Institution. For Big Daddy, it was an honor that he counts among his highest. It's with a great deal of pride that we welcome Don Garlits to our broadcast team. Don is a man who in your great career has been at the forefront of so many milestones. We're on the threshold of another one now in the history of this sport. There's a lot of talk about the first 4-second run. Could it happen here at Pomona?
Well, Gary, you know, coming into this race, because of the tremendous preparation that NHRA does on this track and the atmospheric conditions that exist here at Pomona early in the year, I predicted a 4-second run at this event. But then, lo and behold, early in the qualifying sessions, a tremendous amount of oil was deposited upon the racetrack because of all the new innovations and new combinations that the crews were trying, and it looked like it was the chances were kind of grim. But then they cleaned the track up, and it looked pretty good, and I think we still have a good opportunity for a 4-second run here at this event.
And we should point out that Don Garlits is the defending Winternationals champion, taking some time off this season to pay attention to his museum of drag racing down in Ocala, Florida. We are down to the final 8 top fuel dragsters and eliminations. This is the first matchup in round number 2, and there is the yellow car accomplishing the burnout. That is Tim Morgan. He's from Walnut Creek, California, and Don Garlits, 1 year ago today, he took a frightening ride.
Yeah, I was down there, Steve. I saw that crash, and it just amazed me that he was able to get out of that car and walk away. Look how hard it hits on the pavement. You know, it really says something for the safety that we have in our sport today.
Well, Tim enjoying far more success this year than he did last. Now, his opponent here in round number 2 is Butch Blair, a neighbor in Northern California, and this is an interesting story. That Streamliner in the near lane Don Garlits features a lot of the aerodynamics that you pioneered.
In fact, that was Joe Amato's old car.
It was indeed, Don. They are staged and ready. There is a red light, a foul start with the yellow car of Tim Morgan. He is out of competition. His front wheels moved out of that electronic beam before the green light circuit was complete on the Christmas tree. He is eliminated. There is a very lucky man, Butch Blair, coasting to victory.
So our second pair now in the second round here at Pomona features Northern Californian Frank Bradley, who won this event 12 years ago, going against the defending world champion Dick LaHaye. He won the title here last fall at Pomona.
And by best guesstimates, Gary earned about $300,000 as a drag racing professional, the 46-year-old from Lansing, Michigan. His opponent will be Frank Bradley, now living in Orange, California. Bradley also has a new car, so new it is yet to even be painted.
The men just barely got this car finished to get to this event.
And that's frequently the case, of course, with a season opening competition. Both men staged, ready to go. LaHaye near lane. Bradley late off the line. LaHaye will advance easily. 524, 276 miles per hour as the defending world champion advances to the semifinals.
That's it. I'm history. End of the road.
You can't quit, Vince. No crash dummy takes out a utility pole like you do.
Larry, for years I've been proving how safety belts save lives, but nobody's listening.
Sure they are.
Yeah, that's why thousands die in car accidents every year. I feel like I'm banging my head against the wall.
Come on, Vince. Tomorrow's the big day. 2 compacts. Head on.
High speed?
Could save a life.
No, I'll be there.
Yeah.
You could learn a lot from a dummy. Buckle your safety belt.
the more things change, the more the good things in life remain. Like little boys' dreams, Saturday afternoons, and baseball.
Player of the Year Paul Azinger, Curtis Strange, and a field of golfing greats tee off at the Honda Classic, next on NBC.
Why does the Ford Thunderbird of Pro Stock champion Bob Glidden race on Goodyear Eagles? Exclusively because of the way Goodyear Eagles respond to the track. And why does Ford choose Goodyear Eagle street radials for every new Thunderbird Turbo Coupe? A major reason is the Goodyear Eagle contact patch, where the car ultimately responds to the road. Goodyear Eagles, because there really is a difference.
Winternationals on a beautiful California day. Terrific crowd having just a great time watching Jack Ostrander in the staging area. This is the man that beat Darrell Gwynn earlier.
And Gary, Jack Ostrander is a bar manager from Pontiac, Michigan. What a great day he is enjoying. Joe Amato, the 1984 world champion from Pennsylvania. Well, Joe's day started on a tense note. This was this morning. When they first warmed up the car, they found an internal problem in the engine and had to, in a matter of minutes, install another engine. Their opponent in round one was another former Winternationals champion, Gary Ormsby from Roseville, California. This is a look at that race earlier today. It was Amato in the near lane, Ormsby in the far lane, a tremendous start, but Amato had enough horsepower thanks to his crew chief, Tim Richards, to pull it off and get into round number 2, where he now faces off with Jack Ostrander.
So now in the second round, it's Amato in the far lane, the man who lost the championship on the final day of the season here at Pomona last fall, going against Ostrander, who had the big upset and win in the first round. Both men off the line beautifully. Amato with a little bit of an edge down the strip, close. It's Amato in a fine run, 524, 279 miles an hour to Ostrander's 526, 269.
But Ostrander can hold his head high. What a day he's had. No, that is not Dick LaHaye back on the starting line. It's the identical car driven by his team captain, Larry Miner. He'll be up against the top speed record holder, Eddie Hill. Don Garlits, what would an Eddie Hill or a Larry Miner budget to run a single NHRA national event?
Well, it depended on how many runs they were going to go, but it would cost about $5,000 a run to take these cars down the quarter mile. And of course, that takes into consideration all the travel expenses, hotel expenses, everything. That's what it costs to get this car ready to come out here to Pomona.
And Larry Miner putting that cost to good use. Fastest qualifier at Pomona at 5:18. He's ready to go against Eddie Hill, who put Shirley Muldowney on the sidelines in the first round. He is the NHRA record speed holder at 285 miles per hour. Hill on the far lane. Problems for Larry Miner. Hill's going to win this one easily, and it looks like Miner's got a little bit of a fire here as he comes by us. No significant problem other than the fact that it puts him out of the competition. Hill will advance. Miner has things well under control as he just routinely drives it out. Tough break for the top qualifier in the Winternationals. The semifinal pairings, Eddie Hill against Dick LaHaye. Hill has the lane choice. And in the other semifinal pairing, it'll be Amato against Butch Blair. Amato with lane selection.
Lane choice is decided by the driver who clocks the quickest elapsed time in the previous round. Eddie Hill's 5:18 gives him lane choice over Dick LaHaye. This is Dick back in the pit area, a little bit frustrated. A new car, a new engine combination. He knows he will definitely have his hands full in the semis.
A tradition of horsepower. For the second consecutive year, Budweiser racing teams captured 3 national championships. Bobby Rahal in the Bud Indy car. Kenny Bernstein in the Budweiser King. And Jim Kropfeld in Miss Budweiser. It's a tradition of horsepower that keeps Budweiser ahead of the pack. Racing fans,
here we go, guys. remember who we are.
Yeah, we're the auto light. Feel good.
Yellow, 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 green! Hey, we win again.
Yeah, we're the auto light. Ow, I feel good. The shoot. The shoot? I feel good.
Hold it, ho, ho, ho. So you're gonna finally meet Cindy, huh?
Tonight.
Good. So first impressions are very important.
I think.
Okay. Now imagine, lights are low, the music's soft. Knock the door opens up. Somebody's out there doing this.
What is this? She's got dandruff?
No, you have dandruff.
No.
Yes, you
I
do.
shampoo every day.
You can shampoo your brains out with regular shampoo. It wouldn't matter.
Brains out?
Yeah, well, so use that.
Head and Shoulders?
Works for me, my friend.
But you don't have dandruff.
Exactamundo.
Head and Shoulders, because you never get a second chance to make a first impression.
Second round action with the Nitro Funny cars. Now these are the same engines we saw in the rear engine dragsters, only now they're in front of the driver, folded into a tube frame, and it's all covered with a fiberglass replica body. You're looking at Dale Poldy, a four-time Winternationals winner from Sylmar, California. He'll be up against Darrell Amberson, who recently moved from Minnesota to California to take over the reins of this funny car. Steve, the popularity of the Winternationals reflected in the big turnout in this field. Look at this turnout. 25 funny cars, 43 pro stocks, 27 top fuel dragsters. And one of those top fuel dragsters is right now doing their maintenance back in the pit area. That is the team of Eddie and Ursi Hill. They will be facing off with Dick LaHaye in the semifinals coming up later today. Now back in the starting line, getting ready for this next matchup. Dale Poldy in the far lane and Darrell Amberson in the near lane. Both moving into the beams, getting ready now for that acceleration off the line. Now Dale Poldy has far more cockpit experience than Amberson, and it shows right there. Poldy is off the mark first. Amberson was late, and Dale Poldy, a 5:45 and a 5-year-old race car. Most impressive. This Poldy will go to the semis. Meanwhile, up in the staging area, preparing for a burnout, here's Jim Head now, the 12th fastest qualifier, finished 9th in points last year. And Jim Head, a general contractor and pro racer from Columbus, Ohio, is known for his great consistency. Now, earlier today, in round number 1, he faced off with Trip Shoemake, making a comeback after a couple of years out of these funny cars. This was early today. That was Shoemake in the far lane, and the near lane was Jim Head. Shoemake was off the mark first, appeared to have this race in hand, and suddenly this supercharger exploded, Don Garlits.
And this is a terrible time for a funny car driver. Look at the fire coming out of that thing. It is so hot in that cockpit, you would not believe it. The driver is literally engulfed in flames. You'll see him come out of there, and he'll be blackened from the smoke, from the fiberglass, the rubber burning. It's an incredible situation. The safety safari crew was there in an instant. They didn't worry about the burning car. They took care of Trip Shoemake first, and of course, that is the right priority. Taking another look, watch the violence of the explosion. Don, in all of that smoke, in all of that heat, how can you control that car? The driver is just operating on reflex action from all the years of experience. The first thing he does, he steers away from the wall and across the center line, disqualifying himself. But he doesn't care. He's worried about getting the fire bottles pushed on. He's got to get that heat down so that he can get that car stopped and get out of it. He's got to get out of that car. Well, Trip Shoemake has even managed to muster a little bit of a smile considering the fireball that he just went through. That was a blaze. That was.
I couldn't see. I just hung on the brake and I hoped it was going to stop, and then it hit the guardrail. Oh, man. Then I couldn't. Anyway.
Well, not a particularly great way to welcome you back to the sport, but you did a great job in qualifying, and the car doesn't appear to be all that bad. A new body, you'll be back in business.
Car, we'll be back. 2 weeks, we'll be back.
Okay, we'll see you. Gentlemen, as well as I know Trip Shoemake, I'll wager you he'll be back next weekend at the NHRA Gator Nationals down in Gainesville, Florida. An absolutely unforgettable ride for Shoemake at Pomona. Meanwhile, back to the second round. This is Brad Tuttle getting ready now to face Jim Head. Tuttle in the Mustang, 8th fastest qualifier out of California. Now, Jim Head is in this round only because Trip Shoemake crossed that center line, and it appears, yes, Head gets another big break. Brad Tuttle just can't find any traction, and it's Head with the win at 566, 258 miles per hour. So Jim Head has advanced to the semifinals, and we'll be back for more from Pomona.
You got
guys aren't supposed to be in here.
Hey, no problem, Honorable Dojo guy.
But this is an important time.
We're the auto lights, guaranteed in any language.
Sayonara.
Engine repairs are not cheap, but they may be preventable with Fram WearGuard oil filters. A leading consumer magazine rated Fram best. So pay a few dollars now or a lot later.
Today's small cars are tougher than ever on oil. Their high-compression engines not only rev high, they can run hotter than regular small car engines. Their searing heat can begin to break down an oil immediately. That's why there's Castrol, the motor oil that in every grade provides maximum protection against viscosity and thermal breakdown. So use Castrol before your engine does something to get you heated up. Castrol, engineered for today's smaller cars.
My wild Irish rose, as sweet as clouded rose, and someday for my sake she may let me take the bloom from my wild Irish rose.
On St. Paddy's Day, celebrate with the only American beer that's also brewed and bottled in Ireland, Budweiser.
Back at the NHRA Chief Auto Parts Winternationals in Pomona, California, second round funny car competition with nearly 60,000 motorsports enthusiasts looking on as Bruce Larson goes through that all-important burnout phase, heating the tires, putting some rubber down on the track, hoping that he can get the best possible traction. John Force also getting ready for a head-to-head showdown with Larson.
Californian John Force won his first national event last year after 12 years of trying. Bruce Larson is yet to score a national competition. He is a team car to Joe Amato. John Force, for the first time in his career, comes into an event as the favorite. Last week in testing that car, he ran a 5:34 lap time and is the top in the sport. Force with a huge advantage off the starting line. He just powers away from Bruce Larson with a fine 5:42, 272 miles an hour. Larson no match at 5.58.
So Force easily advances now to the semifinal round. And back in the staging area, look what's in store here. Kenny Bernstein and Mark Oswald, a rematch of the top two contenders for the championship last year. Bernstein, with a body now down, is a three-time defending champion. And last year, he won 7 events.
Mark Oswald, Cincinnati, Ohio. He was the last man to win a funny car world championship before Bernstein started his rampage. Oswald with a Thunderbird body, another brand new race car. And it's a body that has undergone significant wind tunnel testing. John Force down at the far end of the racetrack, crawling out of his car. His 5:42 matched Kenny Bernstein's number from the first round. So this is going to be a real dogfight as the afternoon wears on.
Force now into the semifinals, wondering who else is going to be there out of this great matchup. Bernstein in the far lane, and on the near side, it's Mark Oswald. Bernstein in the last 3 years has won 70% of his side-by-side confrontations, but not today. Traction problems for Bernstein in the far lane. Oswald in a rump. 5:49, 262 miles per hour. Not particularly impressive, but it didn't need to be because Bernstein lost that delicate balance between power and traction. So the semifinal pairings look like this. It'll be the surprising Jim Head going against Mark Oswald. Oswald has lane choice. And the other pairing, Force against Poldy. Force has lane selection.
Ready now for the semifinals in Top Fuel. Joe Amato going against Butch Blair.
And this is certainly one of the situations where a lot of guys don't like to sell their race cars because they don't want to look at them over in the other lane. There's Amato looking at Blair's old car.
And look at Blair off the line. Great reaction, but here comes Amato. And Amato gets the win. 5:33, 277. Great comeback. And it looked, Don, for a moment like Butch Blair with a hole shot was going to be an upset winner.
Yeah, it's a good thing Amato did have that 5:33. Look at Blair move off the line. You know, races are won and lost right here at the starting line. Gave old Amato an extra long look at that old car of his. Good thing that Tim Richards prepared motor for Amato had a lot of horsepower because he just barely sucked him up right there at the end.
And as a consequence, Amato is in the finals.
Joe, is there the slightest chance here that you may have taken your competition, Butch Flair, a little lightly? He almost got you.
No, Steve, the car started shaking. I had to pedal a little bit. We didn't try and overpower the track, and probably if I didn't pedal it, it would have smoked the tires worse.
There had to be a point there you thought, oh, no.
Yeah, at half track, we were pretty even, but I just felt confident that if the car just didn't do anything wrong, I could just overpower him with the speed.
So our next matchup, who's it going to be in the finals against Pomona, LaHaye or Eddie Hill? And Don Garlits, I've got to ask you, when you watch these guys staging, do you miss it?
I sure do. I look at these long cars out here, the new supercars of 1988, and I'm back home building my new one. I'll be back in 1989.
Not before that?
Well, there's some other deals cooking. I might be back sooner.
We wonder. All right, look at this battle now. LaHaye and Hill. Hill far side, LaHaye near side. LaHaye in a great run gets the victory and a spot in the finals opposite Amato. LaHaye at 521, 276 miles per hour. Hill was 522 at 284 miles per hour.
This is a classic example of how Dick LaHaye won the World Championships last year. He whips them at the starting line, and even though Eddie Hill had a 284-mile-an-hour top speed, he could not stop him.
You were really keyed up on the starting line. You left on him. You knew you probably had to do that.
Well, I was sure I was going to have to, and we're just trying to make this thing run the best we can, and just thank the Lord that it stepped up and did it again.
So in the Top Fuel Finals, like so many times last year, it's Amato against LaHaye. LaHaye has lane choice.
Why is this man breathing like he left his cold at someone else's house? Taking the time to read a book instead of reaching for a tissue. Relaxing in his favorite chair with muscles that no longer ache. Laughing instead of coughing. Resting instead of suffering. Why? Because he took NyQuil. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head fever so you can rest medicine. Now a new cherry flavor, too.
Speed. For some, it's life. Racing is in the blood. To win, all parts must work to perfection. Last year, the Motorcraft team won 4 world championships. With the same Motorcraft parts you can buy for your car. Motorcraft quality parts from Ford.
Why does the Ford Thunderbird of Pro Stock champion Bob Glidden race on Goodyear Eagles? Exclusively because of the way Goodyear Eagles respond to the track. And why does Ford choose Goodyear Eagle street radials for every new Thunderbird Turbo Coupe? A major reason is the Goodyear Eagle contact patch, where the car ultimately responds to the road. Goodyear Eagles, because there really is a difference.
The snow-capped Mount Baldy providing a spectacular backdrop. We're back in Pomona for the Chief Auto Parts Winternationals, the kickoff event on a 16-event, $15 million tour for 1988. And Mark Oswald looking for a chunk of that change as he prepares now for a semifinal funny car run against Jim Head. He beat Kenny Bernstein in round number 2, and earlier, Steve Evans spoke with the defending world champion.
Kenny, going for a 4th straight world championship as you are this year, the pressure is really on you. You're the guy everybody wants to beat, and they say so openly.
Well, there's no doubt about it. 4 in a row is a tough thing to accomplish. 1, 2, or 3 was tough to accomplish. It was no different. But I think right now this is the toughest we've seen it.
The big winner this season will be the fans.
Well, they're going to see one heck of a funny car season because you got 5 or 6 cars that are running extremely well, and there's not going to be easy time anywhere. I don't see you'll see any domination like we had the earlier part of last year.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Kenny Bernstein has had it his way for 3 consecutive years, but he's out of this one now as we prepare for a semifinal NHRA Pomona Winternational run between Oswald and Head. Oswald has problems off the line, loses traction badly. Also, Head having some difficulty, but his good luck continues, and he has moved to the championship round. Head at a leisurely 766, 123 miles per hour, and now John Force rolling into position for a burnout as he hopes to have an opportunity to go against Head in the championship finals. Force will be matched up with Dale Poldy. Poldy has had a pretty good day himself now as he hopes for an opportunity to win for the 5th time in his career. Let's go to the opposite end of the strip. The reaction from Jim Head now with Steve Evans.
You know, Jim, this is carrying that old adage, when it's your day to an extreme.
Yeah, and I love it because it's for me.
Well, you couldn't see all of what was happening, but you both smoked the tires. You had got off the throttle. He got off the throttle. You got out in the lead. He tried to gun you down and couldn't.
Actually, I broke a blower belt. I didn't get off the throttle.
Oh, is that right? No power through the supercharger?
None whatsoever, and I kept my foot down in the motor just trying to run, and I kept watching over my shoulder and never did see him.
I also noticed when the body was up to get you out, there's a lot of oil on the front of the engine.
Yeah, I think the supercharger broke. When the blower belt broke, it broke the front snout, and then I hope that's oil because we didn't go far enough to hurt anything, I don't believe.
Okay, we'll check on you in the pits. Thanks.
Okay, see you later.
So the question of who'll be facing Jim Head in the finals is about to be answered. Dale Poldy in the near lane, John Force on the far side. Remember, Poldy is in a 5-year-old car. Off the line, Poldy with the advantage. Traction problems for Force. Another upset. Dale Poldy in the aging car has advanced to the finals. 542, 269 miles per hour. Force with a disappointing 640. So the final pairing has Head against Poldy. Poldy with Lane Joyce.
A bit earlier, Don had a chance to take a close look at a pro stocker.
Pro stock. Very professional, but not very stock. In fact, about the only thing left on this vehicle that's stock is the basic shape, the roof, and the quarter panels. Everything else is very high-tech. Your Thunderbird might have a 4-cylinder turbocharged engine in it, but this baby's got a 500 cubic inch custom aluminum V8. Now, safety, that's what they really get serious about. The NHRA requires this real super roll case that they've got built inside this thing, and you could actually turn this vehicle over at 190 miles an hour and survive. And this man, Bob Glidden, did just that 2 years ago at Atlanta Dragway. You wouldn't want to be doing that little trick with your stock Thunderbird, believe me. Another thing about this car is the driver is real busy. He shifts all these levers, steers the car, watches the tack, and all in just a little over 7 seconds. Sounds exciting. You're probably wondering, where do I get one? Well, I'll tell you, you're going to have about $100,000 instead of the 14 that you might pay at your local dealership. So I don't think you're going to want to drive one of these cars to the local grocery store.
Now, after Bob Glidden replaced Don Garlits in the cockpit of that car, a major surprise as Morris Johnson Jr., a virtual unknown out of Virginia, put Glidden on the trailer. Here's what happened in the first round of pro stock. This was no fluke. Look at them off the line. Glidden, who'd been a top qualifier 23 straight events side by side, but it's Johnson in the near lane with the biggest upset of the competition at Pomona. Steve talked with Glidden.
He did a great job. He deserves to win. He could win the race.
And it's moments like this that just make you work harder.
We're going to have to work harder, Steve. We've worked quite hard through the winter, but as you can see, it's paid off better for some of the other guys than it has for us. We're going to have to get back and start over again and see what's going on.
I know you will. Thank you.
Damn. Meanwhile, the Pro Stock semifinals about to unfold. Tony Christian going against Butch Leal. Leal in the near lane now. Don, who do you think is favored in this one?
Well, I always favor Butch Leal. He's such a good driver off the starting line. He just whipped him right there.
And a great start for Leal. Near lane, off the line quickly with a slight advantage. Yes, indeed, he beats Tony Christian by the slimmest of margins, and it was Leal's blazing reaction at the start line that wins him a berth in the finals today. Steve?
Well, the giants of funny car racing, the Bernsteins, the Oswalds, the Forces, cast a shadow over a little car from the nearby San Gabriel Valley. But Dale Pulte, you're putting that 5-year-old piece into the final round with a 542.
Great. That's just remarkable. Just, the guys just do a heck of a job on the car, and it's going out there and performing well. And I've got them. As long as I do my job, I know they'll do theirs.
Other semifinal matchup, Larry Morgan against Mark Pollock. Don, got a favorite here?
I like Pollock. He's been running good all day long, very consistent, very good off the line. I think he'll be your winner.
Larry Morgan, Dare Lane, red light for Morgan. Pollock will be an easy winner, as it turns out. The foul on the start, and the man who is the 11th fastest qualifier, Pollock, will now move into the final round, where he'll be facing Butch Leal. Leal will end up with lane choice because of his quicker elapsed time in the semifinal round.
Coming up, Funny Car and Pro Stock Finals.
Speed. For some, it's life. Racing is in the blood. To win, all parts must work to perfection. Last year, the Motorcraft team won 4 world championships with the same Motorcraft parts you can buy for your car. Wow. Motorcraft quality parts from Ford.
There's no place on earth that I'd rather be than out in the open where it's all plain to see. If it's gonna get done, it's up to you and to me. There's no place that I'd rather be. Head for the mountains of Bush. Head for the mountains of Bush. Beer.
Well, you know the bad news.
Charlie Carlson looks cool under pressure. But just because his shirt is dry doesn't mean he smells good. Because under our motor is invisible, he needs Sure Solid. Sure helps protect against wetness and odor. So, Charlie, why go to work with a dry shirt and a false sense of security? Tomorrow, use Sure Solid and be just as sure about odor as you are about wetness.
I hear we have a new vice president.
Thanks.
The pro stockers are on the line. The 2 survivors of a 16-car field that started the day. Mark Pollock looking for his first ever NHRA national event win. Butch Leal had 3 last year alone. Leal and the Trans Am in the near lane. As they stage carefully, they're ready. Both drivers are away together. No one had an advantage off the mark, but Leal has horsepower mid-range. Butch Leal will be the Winternationals champion, Don.
This win has the traditional Butch Leal trademark on it. He gets away good and stays ahead. He's an old competitor, and he's very experienced.
That little header fire shouldn't be a big problem.
So now the spotlight falls on the funny car final here in the NHRA Chief Auto Parts Winternationals at Pomona. Pulte against Head. Earlier, Steve Evans took a closer look at the Dale Pulte operation.
As always, there's big crowds around the cars getting ready for the finals here at the Winternationals. That's not unusual. It is unusual, however, when the crowd is working on the car. The machine driven by Dale Pulte is crewed by the over-the-hill gang from the nearby San Gabriel Valley. There are 18 members of the team that help Bill Schultz run this funny car, and they could just do about anything they have to. You can see counting heads here. There's at least 18 working on the car. But you know, the over-the-hill gang, we may have to change that. Because after all, when you go over the hill, don't you start picking up speed?
Well, what Pulte may need at this time is a little good fortune of his own, because the man he's facing in the finals, Jim Head, has had certainly his share. First, the explosion and fire that Shoemake encountered, then Tuttle, then Oswald, both losing traction. As a result, Head now in the finals against Pulte. So as they finish their preparations, let's go to the far end. Steve Evans with the winner of Pro Stock.
Well, Butch Leal rolls in with a little fire underneath his Pontiac, but that was quickly taken care of. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Steve. You know, I'm home here in Pomona. I was born in California and live in Ohio now, and it just feels so good to win here in front of all these people. They've been cheering me on all day, and Gil's not here. He's in Florida on vacation, and this one's for him.
Gil Kirk, the car owner. Let me tell you, Pollock was right with you off that starting line. He's a young talent to watch for.
Oh, he's great. He's real great. He's really coming, and he's going to do it. He got here, and he knows how to get here now, and I look for him to be here all the time.
So with one champion crowned, we're about to crown another. Will it be Poldy or Head? Don Garlits?
We were over in Jim Head's pit earlier, and he had no damage whatsoever. So I think this is going to be a heads-up race, especially this time of the day.
So a couple of long shot contenders in their moment of glory off the line. Both have traction problems. Near lane, however, is Poldy. And despite the fact that he was smoking heavily away from the line, he has the win. The Pomona Winternationals champion, Dale Poldy, 6:02 only for 2:23. He could care less at this point. A happy, jubilant crew at the starting line.
As the cars get off the starting line, they moved pretty good initially, but the old cold Pomona track started to give a little bit of problem as the tires began to break loose. And it was Dale Poldy's experience that caused him to get off the throttle just enough to let the tires catch up so he could win the Winternationals.
The kind of prize money the over-the-hill game will deposit will really influence their racing. Maybe they can go somewhere.
I hope so. So far, it's just going to be 4, maybe 6 races and stuff. But to these guys, you know, it is like winning the U.S. Nationals to them. This car, until about a year ago, never went past the first round. Now we won a race finally. We've been in the semifinals a couple times. It's great.
And to keep pace with the touring pros, not keep pace, but to beat them. What an accomplishment for all. You're going to need a bus to haul these guys around if you tour this car.
That's not the gang. That's the gang.
Congratulations again to all of you, Dale, and great driving.
Thank you very much.
Dale Poldy, the Winternationals champion. Boy, did he earn this one.
And that jubilant crew catching up with their driver now in the cool-down area. Here they are, and let the celebration in Southern California begin for Dale Poldy and company.
Why does the Ford Thunderbird of Pro Stock champion Bob Glidden race on Goodyear Eagles? Exclusively because of the way Goodyear Eagles respond to the track. And why does Ford choose Goodyear Eagle street radials for every new Thunderbird Turbo Coupe? A major reason is the Goodyear Eagle contact patch, where the car ultimately responds to the road. Goodyear Eagles, because there really is a difference.
Today's small cars are tougher than ever on oil. Their high-compression engines not only rev high, they can run hotter than regular small car engines. Their searing heat can begin to break down an oil immediately. That's why there's Castrol, the motor oil that in every grade provides maximum protection against viscosity and thermal breakdown. So use Castrol before your engine does something to get you heated up. Castrol, engineered for today's smaller cars.
Mom, can I have a hot dog?
Honey, you just had one. And your father had to eat it.
Yeah, big eyes.
And he had to eat your cotton candy.
You didn't have to.
Now you tell me.
Heartburn?
Oh, you got it.
No, you do. That's why I always carry Pepto.
Here it comes, the soothing relief of Pepto-Bismol. The one that coats is the only one you need.
How's the heartburn?
What heartburn? Hey, you gonna finish that?
Yeah.
Oh.
So as the sun slides slowly behind the hills in the west, all attention now riveted on the Top Fuel Finals. An old rivalry, Dick LaHaye against Joe Amato. It was only here at Pomona last fall that the World Championship was decided in the final day of competition between these two men. LaHaye ended up with the championship. Amato had to settle for number 2. Earlier, Steve Evans talked with each driver, wanted to know why they're so often pitted against each other.
We probably have the 2 most consistent cars here where we know how to read the track conditions, and the good crews and the drivers are consistent.
You feel like you owe him one after losing the championship?
Definitely.
Dick, I have watched you so many times prepare to race Joe Amato, but I sense a bit of frustration that hasn't been apparent before.
Well, you know, we've got all this new equipment, and it's kind of hard to learn to work with. We've got a new race car. We've got a different type of clutch that we've never run. We've got a bigger cubic inch engine that we've never run, and different rod angles in it. And we're really pulling our hair out because we don't know what adjustment to make the thing step up like we used to with our old combination. This one here, we're just kind of struggling along and saying a lot of prayers.
The principal's thoughts a few moments ago. Don, their thoughts right now.
Gary, this is the most stressful time in all of drag racing. You've got to stay cool, and both of these men are experts at it.
LaHaye, near side. Amato, far side. LaHaye, the defending world champion, away quickly. Traction problems for Amato. LaHaye will have another championship. He has started the 88th NHRA championship season with a victory in the Jeep Auto Parts Winternationals.
Joe Amato hits off the mark first, but the tricky traction of Pomona's cold surface takes its toll as the tires go up in smoke and Amato's hopes of victory go down. Dick LaHaye goes on to the victory, turning a fine 5:13 low ET, winning the 28th Winternationals.
What a way for Dick LaHaye to cap the day. Low elapsed time, 5:13.
Oh, I thought it would do it, and I was just so afraid to try it, Steve. I mean, I'm almost in tears. I can't even believe this, Holy. I'm serious. It looks like we've got a nice hot rod here and a new car, and our motor combination looks like it's going to work. We just was very, very skeptical about stepping on it.
Again, a great day. Thank you so much for an exciting day.
Thank you very much, Steve.
Dick LaHaye, the world champion, gets a great start in 88.
So no 4-second run today, but still a terrific day of competition, Don.
You bet it was, Gary.
For Don Garlits and Steve